And we have these amazing YouTube channels at Unity Kitchener, Unity Ottawa. So by the end of today, you will see today's talk on YouTube. If you didn't get enough of it, you can do it again. So we will have our guest speaker joining us in 2 minutes. I get the wonderful opportunity to express my feelings about her. All good. So Dr. Anne Therriault will be giving a talk, Growing My Faith. She is a licensed Unity teacher trainee. So she'll be graduating this fall. And as I said, she's doing a great job. She's just started her second course, and this is her second talk. She will be coming back again for a third talk and a third course. And I'd say you're doing pretty great. We actually have a group of people who came to her talk on Friday night who said they want more. So I think that's pretty fantastic. So just to share a little bit about Anne, she was born in Therriault, Quebec, and lived a very free-spirited childhood there. Went off to university to study geology. I think I got it right.
Yep.
Yeah, so she studies.
Background.
No, but what was the title of geology again?
Planetary geology.
Right, planetary geology. The only day I would ever forget would be today. So she taught down at Unity of in Houston, sorry. She taught down at Houston University while she also worked at NASA for a few years, and then came back up to Canada to do her PhD, where she studied the Sudbury crater. Did you know that we have the second largest crater in the world in Canada? That's pretty cool. You know, the one that destroyed the dinosaurs and everything is in Mexico, but it wasn't even as large. It just happened to explode on a certain type of rock, which then put certain gas into the air. So I'm sure she could have a whole workshop on that. So Anne lives, Anne lives in, where do you live again? Oh, that's right. LaSalle, Quebec, with me on our hobby farm. And she has 3 wonderful kids. And we've got lots of chickens and a rooster and 2 dogs. And she's going to give a great talk. So, Anne, here you go.
Speaker, you.
I know.
Okay.
Where's the speaker view?
There.
I know, but I did that. Oh, right here.
There.
you
How about- You know, technology, sometimes it's surpasses us, but I'm so happy and grateful for it because we are all linked here together. Thank you for those of you who are present today, but thank you for you that are present in Kitchener. And then thank you for you that are online connecting with us. So thank you for this wonderful technology, which sometimes, you know, I think I'm technologically challenged. I will try to speak up. I do have 3 kids. I know how to project my voice. So if I tell you the word faith, what comes to your mind? What other word do you associate with faith? Good faith? Blind faith? Peter?
The life associated with love of God.
Love of God. You know the sayings, blind faith, a leap of faith, an act of faith. Believe, you're associating believing with faith. And then there's also walking by faith and Faith Hill. But truly, what is faith? So I decided that since I could not really come up with a crispy answer, I did like everybody else, I Googled. And when I Googled, I get this: faith is a strong religious belief. It's a belief in the existence of God. It is confidence, trust, and hope in God. Well, sum it up: trusting in something you cannot explicitly prove. Yeah, well, I wasn't satisfied, so I kept on digging. If you remember Paul Asselbeck, he's a renowned Unity minister, and he's written this book, Heart-Centered Metaphysics, which Unity uses to teach many courses. Well, I went into Heart-Centered Metaphysics to look up what does Paul Asselbeck have to say about faith? And he says, faith is our ability to perceive the reality of divine mind's kingdom of God, despite the evidence to the contrary. Well, that was not enough for me, so I kept on digging. I wonder what Marcus Borg have to say about faith. Marcus Borg is a famous American scholar, biblical scholar and theologian. And he says about faith that faith means fidelity to God through acts of kindness and justice, through trust in the face of adversity and obstacle to the good, and vision of the potential for good in every circumstances. Okay, now I'm getting somewhere, right? It's starting to fill up what faith is, but I decided to dig some more. And I wanted to know, what does Charles Fillmore have to say about faith? Charles Fillmore is one of the co-founders of Unity. And in his book, Keeping a True Lent, on a lesson, a Lenten lesson on faith, he says, faith is spiritual assurance, the power to do the seemingly impossible. It is a deep inner knowing that that which is sought is already ours for the taking. The assurance of things hoped for. Okay, now I'm starting to get the gist of it. But now I'm sure that you're wondering, why is Anne thinking about faith now? And why is she really going into this? Well, in my Licensed Unity Teachers program, we do get to pair up and practice praying during our classes. And lately, what I was asking for was I wanted to, because you need to have a request to your prayer partner, and then they create a prayer for you. And my request was to increase my trust so I could surrender better to the oneness. So I wanted to feel one with the oneness. And this particular prayer partner, who will recognize herself, said, Anne, what about you claim your power of faith? And I went, okay. And this is how I went, okay, so if I want to claim my power of faith, how am I to be growing my faith? And that's why I went into what is faith. And what I want to talk to you about today is that from all this reading and research, from everything I see, it comes up to pretty much 4 aspects of faith. There's an aspect of perception, an aspect of trust, an aspect of hope, and an aspect of conviction action. And today I would like to express to you how those aspects show up in my life, enabling me to grow my faith. So first aspect is perception, this idea of intuit, receptivity. Faith is to see, to hear. And in fact, we're not talking about blind faith here. Charles Fillmore, like I said, the co-founder of Unity, in his books, he wrote, like in Dynamics of Living, says that faith has open eyes. And Charles is the one that tagged those 12 powers of Unity, and he associated a disciple to each power. For faith, he associated Simon Peter. Simon means hearing. So faith is to see, faith is to hear, faith is to be aware of the signs provided to us by the oneness. Let me give you an example of how this can show up in my life. One day, my babysitter, I picked up my kids, and she tells me, don't come back. And I go, what do you mean, don't come back? She said, yeah, I'm done. Doesn't give me any more explanation than that. And I leave with my 2 kids. I'm not out of her driveway. I'm in tears, sobbing in the car because It had taken me all that I had to find her. What was I going to do? And I had this feeling, it's okay. It's going to be right in my face. What type of expression is that? I never used that before. It's like, it's going to be right in my face. So I drive home. Then I tell my family, I tell my friends, I'm without a babysitter with 2 kids under the age of 4. I'm working full time. What am I going to do? And they would say, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, it's okay. The answer is going to be right in my face. Here was I saying that again. A couple of days later, I go to my mailbox. I live in a rural area. You know, we have these cubicle pigeonhole mailboxes. And it happens that mine is at my eye level. That day, there was something in front of it. It would have been anywhere else on the frame. I would have never seen it, but it was right in my face. So I looked at the piece of paper in more detail, and it's an advertisement from a babysitter. She ended up being the best babysitters my kids ever had. The answer was right in my face. How do I grow my faith? Using this aspect of perception, by being open to seeing and hearing and receiving the signs and the answers, and from the oneness, and recognizing them as such, right? Some people would say that, yeah, and you've got a horseshoe up your, yeah, you're lucky. No, it's more than luck. This is actual faith. Can you think of any signs that you have received in your life? Can you see that that came from the loving source? Can you recollect one right now? Okay, now I'm going to bring you to the second aspect that for me, right? I'm telling you, this is my own thing. The aspect of trust. Anna Maria bring the fact that, you know, to believe. Yes, trust is to believe, you know, to have this leap of faith, not knowing where you're leaping to. Now we're talking about blind faith, right? This has nothing to do with seeing and signs now. And actually, Ralph Waldo Emerson was a great mind of the 1800s. And he actually was a great influencer to Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founders of Unity Movement. Well, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, all I have seen teaches me to trust the Creator for all that I have not seen. So faith is to believe without having evidence, without having the need for signs, without having the need for proof. And yes, I do have an example of how does that show up in my life. Last year, I retired in September, at the end of September. It came to my attention in August that I could very well be without income between my last paycheck and 45 days before I get my first pension payment. Oops, I had not planned for that. But I had this inner deep knowing, you know, like Charles expressed about trust, that it was going to be okay. My parents passed away the year before, and my sister, one of my sisters is the executor, and she was still dealing with the processing of all that. When I reached out to her in September, because I thought, yeah, maybe that would be the key, she said that she had no clue. Everything should have been already received by June. Now we're in September, and she was fretting. And I told her, you know what? It's all okay, Jose. Within the next 2 weeks, it's coming. It's all going to be resolved in the next 2 weeks. By all means, I did receive my share of the inheritance at the beginning of October, and I was without income for 45 days. So that bridged me over. Trust. So if faith is to trust, to surrender for the oneness, are you ready to trust and to surrender? Because it's right there. Now, a third aspect for me about faith is hope. You know, this idea of expectancy, a vision of the potential for good, an act of faith. Let me quote you now the New Testament, Matthew chapter 21, verses 22, in which it says, whatever you ask in prayer with faith, you will receive. So faith is that part of praying knowing that you will receive, praying with hope. I have an example again in my life to show you how does this aspect show up in my life. My son is in university in Laval University in Quebec. Last month in April, he calls me anxious and stressed that he has to leave where he is staying right now, the apartment, and find a new place to live. Well, with the price of apartments, with the fact that they're not easy to find, he is afraid that he won't be able to continue his studies and he will have to take a break. And I told him, son, chill, let's do this affirmation together. The apartment that you need is out there for you to find and is available now. My son is close to his sisters, so I reached out to my two daughters, told them his situation, and I asked them, please affirm with us that the apartment that Sean needs is out there for him to find and is available now. Well, Sean is moving next week to an apartment 2 streets away from where he lives now. Affirmative prayer. Faith is to know that when facing trouble, big or small, reach out and ask for help with prayer. For me, how do I grow my faith? Is by practicing my affirmative prayer. Unity taught me that. Affirmative prayer. If you don't know about affirmative prayer yet, look it up. Daily practices. It's not pleading, it's affirming that what you already saw is yours, right? So be good to yourself. And actually, when you think even a little bit more about that, Unity has 5 principles. The 4th one says, prayer and meditation align us to the spiritual self in us and to God. So by doing prayer, I am actually enacting and living that 4th principle of unity. Okay, let me recap so far. I have talked about an aspect of perception, an aspect of trust, and an aspect of hope. Now, I'd like to talk about the aspect of conviction, action. Now we're talking about walking by faith, right? This idea of assurance, certitude, demonstration. In the New Testament, letter of James, chapter 2, verses 17, Jesus says that if faith is not accompanied by action, faith is dead. So faith is actually acting, living the truth I know. And yes, I do have another example. So this story involves my spouse. And we're driving on home one day. We live in the boonies in a rural area. And we come along the road and there's this pool table on the side of the road up for the pickings. We look at each other and we go, we like to play pool. We have a van. Let's pick it up. It already is in parts. So we put all the parts in there, you know, and the hardware. And then the two of us, this is a full-size pool table. Grab the thing, and we're trying to fit it in. Well, you know what? It doesn't fit in. So we look at each other. I said, the only way we take this pool table home is if it goes on top of the roof rack. I said, okay, honey. I claim my power of strength right here, right now, and this pool table is going with ease on top. I must say that we have a pool table to enjoy at home. So faith, action, is to actually claim the powers that we have. I've told you there's power of faith. And actually, I forgot to tell you, power of faith is the first one of 12 that Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, developed for us. And now I've told you about the power of strength. Well, that ends up being the second power. There's 10 more for us to go and claim and then manifest through our abilities in our life. And that grows faith. Can you think how living the truth of that can be applied in your life, knowing that the fifth principle of unity is that, right? Applying the learnings in all areas of our life, which for Unity Ottawa, we've summed it up as living the truth that we know. Do you want to walk by faith? I'm going to sum up. Faith is more than believing. For us in Unity, we say our first two principles. I believe that God is, the one power, one presence, God is in everything, everywhere. Therefore, it is in me. I am divine. That's the first base block of faith, believing. But faith is more than believing. If you believe in what I just told you about these aspects, faith is to perceive. Faith is to trust. Faith is to hope. So you can grow faith because faith is in you, all of you, to cultivate. Grow faith by being open to see and hear for signs, by trusting and surrendering to the oneness, by praying, and by claiming your powers and living the truth that you know. I'm going to leave you with this last quote. Ernest C. Wilson. He was I think he hasn't passed yet. He is a Unity minister, very famous. He led the temple on the plaza, the first Unity center in Kansas City for many years. And he's written many books. And in this book, The Sunlit Way, here's what he says about faith. Faith is natural, inherent, innate, but the form it assumes is a matter of cultivation. So it's up for you. It's up to you. Call for help in prayers and be open to receive the signs and the answers. Trust that you seek is already yours. Go in peace. Grow in faith. Okay. Thank you. Now I'd like to lead you in a meditation. It will be a short one. So please be seated comfortably. Close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever you may wish. And breathe in and breathe out deeply, allowing yourself to relax each muscle in your body. Bring your attention to your breath, breathing in, breathing out, gently and slowly. Allow your higher self to begin to make itself known to you. Through your breathing, you are opening to an abundance of loving light energy. Allow your mind to clear and release all thoughts. If any thoughts arise, just say the word thought and return to following your breath. Bring your awareness to the place in your body where you can begin to feel this light energy making itself most known to you. This loving energy carries your higher self and it is the mediator between you and the one loving source. Accept and feel its powerful and loving presence within you. This presence is guiding you, loving you, nurturing you, and supporting you in each moment. It is a wise and calm energy, omnipotent, omnipresent, and all-knowing. You can engage with it anytime you want. Focusing on the area of your being where you feel your higher self making itself known to you, notice what is within this space. Do you see an image or a symbol, hear a sound, or feel a sensation that indicates the presence of your higher self? Take a moment to more fully connect to your higher self and welcome its presence to become stronger. Your higher self provides you with its wonderful presence to let you know that you are never alone. You are one with this energy and always able to ask it to make itself known to you through your intuition. Ask your loving higher self if there is a message for you today. Is there something you need to know at this time? Let go of your wanting to think, allowing the energy of your higher self to be in flow. It is okay if nothing comes. Now continue relaxing into your breath, allowing your higher self to come through with any necessary pieces of information for your highest good. Know that you are fully supported on your path. Now, thank your higher self for making itself known to you and for supporting and guiding you in each moment. Continue to follow your breath, and when you are ready, bring your awareness back to the room, and ever so gently and ever so slowly, let your light come to your eyes as you gently open your eyelids, not focusing, letting light come until your eyes are open but not focused. And then finally, open your eyes and focus gently on the world around you. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Welcome back. Thank you. Be well.
Thank you, Anne. That was marvelous talk. Yes, I have to talk louder. I'm working on it. When I was young, my teachers would tell me to shut up. Okay. I'm going to start the screen again, stop the recording. Thank you.